we saw obviously with Alabama, the O-line has been a huge thing. Saw your post pretty early on, and about your O-line from left to right: James, Sanders, Delgado, Fields, Carroll. How did you settle on that one already?
Yeah, so I'd say naturally, this is my starting offensive line off of last year's tape. I guess that'd be the more, fair way to say this, because I did note too that I think there's a couple guys that can very much get involved here. I think Ty Haywood, former Alabama commit at one point, and this is a highly rated guy, only had 15 career snaps. So there's no way I'm going to put him at one of the tackle spots just because that's what he did. But he very well could come out of nowhere, have a great spring ball, put together a great summer, and have a really nice fall camp. And next thing you know, he's starting at left tackle. That's a possibility for sure. But I just wasn't comfortable doing that. I will note though, on his tape, like I said, only 15 reps. He had one pass block snap. And I think it was like a boot action away from him. So I have no clue what his pass set looks like. Gotcha. But there's a lot to like. He plays with a good base. His run game looks solid, but just not a lot to go off of. And then I think Jackson Lloyd is another one that you're looking at that, once again, I can't look at his tape from last year and say that I think this guy's beating out Javen James, or I think this guy is going to beat out Michael Carroll, which is a whole nother conversation if you want to talk about Michael Carroll going inside. But I just, really has great movement. He's the frame you want, 6'7", 320, but definitely struggled with some power, especially taking on bull rushes and being able to kind of sit down on that. And once again, these are two guys. I just named two freshmen going into their second year that I think, once again, especially for offensive linemen, that's second spring ball going into your second year, that is a huge time where it does slow down. And it's hard because it's such a physical game. Well, now you've been in a college weight room for well over a year going into year two. So I'm curious to see just kind of how those guys progress along. But yeah, overall, I've said a couple different times, there's a lot of guys I like on this line. Ethan Fields might be my favorite, which I know a lot of fans, it's kind of crazy because he only has 86 career snaps. It was 60 snaps last season. But I swear to you, I had 12 highlight plays out of 60 snaps for Ethan Fields that I was ready to put. I was making a little highlight reel, and I was choosing from 12 plays. That's how good I felt he was. And it's not even just highlight in the sense of he's just mauling guys out of the way and then just getting beat up on in pass pro. He's solid. He's a high IQ player. He really understands double teams. And I think that's something for example, who was I watching? I was watching Nick Brooks. Nick Brooks, 6'7", 350. Very similar to kind of that old Alabama offensive lineman. And I think it's kind of different. We're going to the different route of, I think that's kind of happening in college football a little bit too. You're going 330 and under because you're seeing these more athletic defensive lines that are constantly slanting and stunting and blitzing. Right. You got to be able to move. It's not as much just defensive lineman's always going to put two hands in and you got to move them out of the way. You got to react. And I think that's something that I really liked from Ethan Fields' game in the games he did play for Ole Miss, where he was anytime there was something slanting away, he was very comfortable. He was always under control. And that was something I kind of saw the opposite in Nick Brooks' tapes where it's hey, this guy's incredibly gifted, huge body, but it's a little clunky when he moves and it's not super under control. And there's not a great understanding that, hey, if this thing slants away, don't chase it, brace back and let's get vertical on this run. And so that's kind of why I went the way I went with this offensive line. I'm excited Grayson Delgado is someone that has one of the greatest names in college football, but that's someone I cannot wait to hear from in spring ball. How's he handling?
Wonderful name.
Yes.
Doesn't get better.